Australia's 30th Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, led the country through floods, fires and a once-in-a-century pandemic.
But after stepping away from public life, he's now opening up about his struggles with anxiety and depression, admitting he was on medication during his time in office, all penned in his new book. And he joins us now. Good morning to you, Scott. Nice to see you.
Hey, guys. Good to see you.
Some revelations there that may surprise. So was it difficult for you to open up about that?
No, not really. I mean, at the time, it was just a very practical thing. I mean, you've got to look after your health when you're in any stressful job. Took blood pressure medication too. I had a great doctor and, look, it was more preventative than anything else. But after a while, after several years, we were dealing, as you said in your introduction, with the toughest challenges we'd seen since the Second World War. That wasn't the issue. The issue was really the sort of day-to-day grind of politics and exhaustion and the pylons that come with that. I mean, that's what happens in politics. I'm not complaining about it. It's just that's how it is.
Did you recognise a point along the way where you've gone, this is too much?
No, to be honest, no. It sort of crept up on you after a while. And you know, I saw, for all the right reasons, my doctor on a regular basis when I was in that job, and he was keeping tabs of me to make sure I was well. And he sort of noticed it as well in our discussions, and then at one point suggested that he prescribed something. And I just found that really helpful. I mean, my faith has always been the foundation of my life, and that greatly assisted me deal with the things that I did. But we're all human, and, you know, you've got a headache, you take a tablet. You're having some issues with these things, then you can get help. And blokes need to understand this. Blokes seem to think, oh, well, if I do that, somehow I'm not tough enough. Teaspoon of cement, harden up. That's stupid.
Oh, I think that's the point, though, isn't it? I mean, especially coming from a politician, it's so rare for us to get that insight into the mental health battles. You know, you described your anxiety as debilitating and agonising, and I think a lot of people who have those same concerns are experiencing that too, just don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what job you're in. I mean, today you've been covering the terrible events that have occurred in Perth, as we saw here in our own home city recently. I mean, the people who are dealing with chasing down terrorists every day or chasing after sexual offenders online who are abusing our kids, I mean, I used to see them up close too, and the stresses they went under, you know, keeping Australia safe, our people who serve overseas. We all have our own things that we deal with, and we can get great help. And people around me didn't know this was happening because it wasn't sort of coming through. I was working from, you know, before sunrise to, you know, late at night.
We prefer if you don't mention sunrise.
Sorry.
I mean, just
before dawn. Before today.
Exactly.
Look, if you're looking at politics now, how would you imagine you would be plotting to, I guess, with all of the issues facing us at the moment? We're looking at interest rates going up again, inflation going up, and interest rates after that, a widening gap with the budget. I mean, how would you plot to bring down Anthony Albanese?
Well, I'll leave that to others now, because, I mean, what I've really done since I've left politics is to leave politics. And I'm not going to be one of those who sort of come back and chime in all the time. I mean, I maintain a strong interest with what I'm doing now in the Indo-Pacific. I've just been up in Japan and Korea and in the United States. I'll be back in the US again next week. You know, I focus on those issues, and I'll leave domestic politics to the politicians. I had my go, and I think once you've had your go, you get off the stage and you move on. This book, Plans for Your Good, is not a political book. It's a book about my faith, and I hope it encourages people.
When you left politics, you left things in a kind of a precarious position with China. You're now dealing with the Pacific, and how does that sit?
Well, I'm very pleased about what we did, because what I've seen all around the Indo-Pacific, and I was just meeting with the Korean Prime Minister last week in Seoul, what we did in standing up to China was encourage so many other countries to align and do the same. And it really has provided a counterbalance. And the United States respects Australia massively for the strong stand we took. Now, China have changed tactics, but they haven't changed their strategy. And my warning is that, yeah, by all means, we should have dialogue. And I'm pleased we didn't hang up the phone, they did. But it's important. Go in there with your eyes wide open, deal with them at your own risk. Because they can turn it off any day, and they can threaten to turn it off any day, and the government should never be bullied by that.
So is politics over for now or for good?
I'm not going back. The girls would tie me down in the shed if I even thought about it, and I'm just enjoying life with Jen and the girls now, doing what we're doing. Back home in the Shire, sharks are on top of the ladder. How good, even in the wet.
One of the greatest things I've ever done, being associated with you, was the ukulele on 60
Yeah, well, you're
Minutes.
playing it today, mate, if anyone's playing it. That's how it works now.
just
We
wonder if
heard,
you can
we
go
heard
back.
him. We think you're better.
You can actually
Come
play
on,
it.
No, I'll give you the shot, but I've taken a vow of celibacy on the
He's
ukulele.
such a politician. He's still a politician.
Since you suckered me into that a few
I
years
didn't suck you.
But you did enjoy the curry.
No, the curry was great. So were the
There it is.
margaritas.
There you go.
This one's
Let's
out.
sing along. What happens? I went to a wedding in Ballarat
Yeah.
for a friend, and the DJ played April Sun in Cuba and said, "This is for ScoMo."
Follows you around everywhere now,
Look,
doesn't it?
the reality is politics is a brutal game.
It is.
You gave so much of your life and your family's life to the game. We wish you all the very best. The plans for your good. A Prime Minister's testimony of God's faithfulness is out now. Really, really good to see you.
Thanks, guys. All the best. Cheers.
Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and
What's my name again?
Carl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports, and amazing Aussie stories.
And Carl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
that never happens.
always happens.
What's she talking about?
Always happens.